Hi, everyone. It's Henry DeVries with Agency Rainmaker TV. This is the show where we help agency owners make it rain, more revenue, more right fit clients. And I'm so excited today. I have an author, a best-selling author, Pamela Slim of the Widest Net, best book on business development that I've read in the last 5 years. Pamela, thanks so much for being with us today. What are we going to talk about?
I am so happy to be here. We're going to talk about making it rain. Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing over here? I'd
That's what it is. So,
That's
tell us who you make it rain for.
my wonderful clients are people who have big ideas, usually codified in things like books or methodologies. And I work with them to create licensing certification programs and also just very well designed offer paths. You know how it is when you're the person who's the business owner and somebody asks for something and you create it, and they ask for something else and you create it. And pretty soon you're a little bit confused yourself as to what you sell. So we like to bring everything together so there's clarity about your core IP. There's different ways that people can access your information and your programs. And then for those who are interested in scaling, you have a very specific way in which you can build licensing and certification programs. So more people can get access to your great stuff and you can make a lot more money while doing it.
What exactly do you do? It's the Pamela Slim Agency. So what does the Pamela Slim Agency do?
Yeah, we work hands-on with our clients to be doing those specific activities. I come from a couple decades of being a business coach where I advised people on strategies for a really long time. And a couple of years ago, I came to the realization that for a lot of people, it's hard to know everything about how you instructionally design a really great program, especially with knowing the latest trends in the market and how people are learning and how to structure it. So that really is where we built the agency, is realizing that the team that I have can really build strong programs from start to finish. Our clients are the geniuses, the subject matter experts, and so we get all the wisdom from them, and then we build very beautiful, scalable programs that they can then go out and sell.
And the question on everybody's mind, how do you make it rain?
I work a lot in the context and the metaphor of an ecosystem. I was actually a community development major in college, and so I have studied ecosystems and interlocking concentric circles for many, many years. And it led me to really build my business in a way where I was identifying people who I call peanut butter and jelly partners, of which you are one included. The definition I call peanut butter and jelly partners are people who have a highly complementary and non-competitive service that are selling to the same client. So where typically we think about great marketing strategies, which can include having good SEO and having lots of content that you're sharing with people, one of the most efficient ways that I've found to grow my business is where I know great people who my clients are working with and I introduce myself to them. For example, they can be working with a whole different set of clients that I may never have exposure to. And so with one introduction, it could open the door to 23, 20, 30, 50 clients. Similarly, when I found really good peanut butter and jelly partners for my clients, it makes it very easy for me to recommend their services when especially there's something that's a natural part of what I do. So as an example, because we build licensing and certification programs, every client we works with needs to work with an IP attorney. So I have very deliberate peanut butter and jelly partners who are IP attorneys who I refer our clients to on a regular basis, and vice versa.
Since I learned about you and your teachings and leaned into this 2 years ago, we've grown 64%. And we track 80% of our business comes from the ecosystems. We like to joke that the four magic words in the English language are, I know a guy. But it could be, I know a gal. I think some of the women in our ecosystem say, no, go ahead, call us a guy. It's just funnier that way. Um, I'm so excited you're coming out to our forum, the Agency Rainmaker Forum. It's going to be February 28th and March 1st at UC San Diego. And we're going to have about 50 people who are interested in forming relationships and have formed relationships. and how they can be relentlessly helpful, as was one of our ecosystem partners says. Uh, so, what will you be covering there at the forum?
One thing I think that is it often jumps in people's mind if they think, for example, about the great opportunity of coming and meeting each other in person. I had the good benefit of speaking already at one of your events in San Diego. And so it is really fun to meet people who are doing interesting things. It also can be, if we think about a traditional way of jumping in and let's say working the room and just having a bunch of business cards that you're holding, trying to shove them in people's faces, there's a very big difference of having a deliberate way that you can begin to have a conversation with somebody to get to know them, to slowly build trust, which the seed can be planted at an event like this, where you get curious and interested in what somebody does, and then you want to follow up and learn more after. But to really have well curated partnerships, I have a very strong point of view, which is no shock to you. I make my opinions very well known, that often if we have a formula, we would on one hand step in and say, everybody in this room, the first time you're meeting people who you've never met before, has to refer these people to your clients. That would actually not be responsible for any of us because we have developed, in some cases over decades, trusting relationships with our clients. We need to get to know each other. We need to see if there's a business fit, if there's a values fit. And so when I teach about peanut butter and jelly partnerships, I really like to look at it as to help you understand the evolution of how you can go through a process that takes time to first identify people who do share the same market, but then to go through a process so that each of you can mutually decide that you want to be referring business back and forth. And for some of the people I've worked with, it's been years, sometimes decades in the making. Susan Beyer, who we know is the one that talks about being relentlessly helpful, is an example of somebody who I have known for almost 2 decades. And so the trust that I have with her in her work, it makes it very, very easy for me to be referring other clients to her and vice versa.
One person who was a potential peanut butter and jelly for me, we were having a conversation, and I started telling her about you,
Hmm.
and she says, "Oh, is her book handy?" I said, "Sure." She says, "Could you open it up to page one?" It was Carly Cunningham who you talk about on page one. Um, and at our forum, um, we don't lecture at people for a few days.
Hmm.
People speak a little, so you get to know who they are and where they're coming from. But then we've built in all this time where you can have a lunch together, or meet at a reception together, or be at a round table together, and get to know each other. Uh, you need to build it over time. Pamela, I was so happy. Devin, my business partner, asked me a question when I was suggesting somebody as a potential partner for us. And she said, "Do they share our values?" I thought, "Oh, that's the chef kiss. That's pure Pamela Slim right there." So you're making an impact on us. Pamela, is there anything else you wanted to add before we go?
I'm just excited to see everyone. And if I always hang out on LinkedIn these days as the main social platform. So if anybody's listening and they want to connect beforehand, it's often nice where we can know each other over there, connect, see a little bit into each other's work, and then it makes continuing conversations a lot easier moving forward. So I'm Pamela Slim, like Shady, as I always say. I don't think there's another Pamela Slim on LinkedIn, so I'm pretty easy to find.
Oh, well, Pamela, thank you so much for being our guest. Thank you for all that you do and coming out to speak at the forum. That's all the time we have for today. So until our next episode, make it rain.